This is Matthew Cratter from Trezor University, and today I want to talk about how to move your Bitcoin from one hardware wallet to another. This is a question I've been getting a lot. If you don't know what a hardware wallet is, it looks something like this. The Trezor is a good example. It's a small device like this that's used to store your Bitcoin, or more particularly, to store your Bitcoin private keys, as we're going to see. But these are small devices. You can store them in your pocket. You can carry them around. Blockstream Jade is another one that I like, and I'm going to link to all these below. I'm not affiliated or associated with any of these companies, but just want to show you the kind of hardware wallets that I like. So Blockstream Jade is another good one. And then for the most advanced users who really want to go deeper into this, the cold card really is the gold standard, or I should say the Bitcoin standard of hardware wallets. So I'll link to all of those below. It's important to note, though, before we go into this much deeper, to understand that Bitcoin is not stored on your hardware wallet. The Bitcoin is not actually stored on your hardware wallet. The Bitcoin is really just an entry on that public ledger that's distributed all around the world called the Bitcoin blockchain. Your private key is what's stored on your hardware wallet, not your Bitcoin. So we have these different things. We have what are called UTXOs, which is short for unspent transaction output. What this refers to is just a little chunk of Bitcoin. So it might be 0.18734 Bitcoin. That is stored or associated with a particular address on the Bitcoin blockchain. A lot of these begin with BC1. That's probably the most common right now. And in order to move that Bitcoin, that UTXO or that little chunk of Bitcoin from this Bitcoin address, you need what's called the private key. You have a public key and you have a private key. You have these public-private key pairs, which is what Bitcoin is built on. This is how Satoshi constructed it. In order to move Bitcoin, to send it or spend it from one of these addresses, you need to first unlock it using a private key. A private key is used to unlock and allow the Bitcoin stored at that Bitcoin address to be sent to a different Bitcoin address that is secured usually by a different private key. So you use these hardware wallets to sign transactions, in other words, to permission or allow them to sign these transactions that send your Bitcoin from one Bitcoin address to another Bitcoin address. And this Bitcoin address can be on the same hardware wallet or it can be associated with a different hardware wallet. Your hardware wallet can sign transactions without revealing your private key online, like a hot wallet briefly does. So this is what we call cold storage. This is what we call a hardware wallet, where your key is secure inside of the hardware wallet. And when you sign a transaction, when you permission a Bitcoin transaction to allow your Bitcoin to be moved from one address to another, your private keys are never exposed to the internet. They're sent to the hardware wallet either through a QR code where you can scan it or through the USB port. So for example, the Trezor you usually plug in to the USB port of your laptop or desktop computer. So a proposed transaction, is sent into the hardware wallet by the software you're using, and I'll show you the Trezor software or the Trezor website. That transaction is sent into the hardware wallet and then signed by the hardware wallet and then sent back out and broadcast to all the nodes on the Bitcoin network. So this way, your private key stays inside the hardware wallet. The reason I like these three hardware wallets, the Trezor, the Cold Card, and the Blockstream Jade, is they're all open source. Their firmware is open source. We can verify them, or if you're a developer and you have the relevant expertise, you can verify that there's no malware on there. The ledger is closed source, unfortunately, which is why I do not use or recommend it. So this is the really important thing about the hardware wallet. Your private key never touches the internet when you're using it. And this contrasts with a hot wallet where your private key is briefly accessible from the internet whenever you sign a transaction. So if you're using a Bitcoin wallet on your phone or on your browser or as a somewhere on your computer, it's almost certainly a hot wallet unless you're using a hardware wallet. So this is the necessary background to understand how do we move our Bitcoin from one hardware wallet. Maybe we want to move it from a Trezor to a Cold Card, or from a Cold Card to a Blockstream Jade. How do we move our Bitcoin? And what this question is really asking is, how do we move that private key, or how do we send the Bitcoin from one address to another? But if it's convenient, you can think of it as if your Bitcoin is being stored on the hardware wallet. The method number one, is basically you just enter what's called your recovery seed into the new hardware wallet. This is often called restoring a wallet. You may see different words for recovery seed. Seed backup is another word, phrase that's used. Recovery phrase, mnemonic, hardware wallet backup. These usually all refer to the same thing. If you're finding this video helpful so far, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Maybe share this video with a few friends as well. So what we have in modern wallets, these are modern hardware wallets, and most software wallets are constructed as hierarchical deterministic wallets. So what this means is you have a parent key that can produce all these children keys and grandchildren keys, and each of those keys is associated with each of those public keys is associated with a private key. And so what happens is in a hierarchical deterministic wallet, which is what your Trezor or Blockstream Jade or Coldcard is, you basically have a master seed, what we just called a recovery seed, or recovery seed phrase, or mnemonic, or backup. And this single phrase, which I'm going to show you what they look like, this allows any wallet, any other hierarchical deterministic wallet, to derive everything that was on that wallet. So it will look, I'll link to this article from the Trezor wiki about what a recovery seed is and the different different synonyms for it: recovery sentence, recovery phrase, mnemonic, backup, etc. They usually look something like this. They're either 12 words or 24 words. This is an example that I've taken from the BIP39 word list. Don't try to use this. This is basically I just took this word list and I took the first 12 words on it. But this is an example of a recovery seed that could be used to back up a hardware wallet. So when you set up your Trezor, for example, you can have it generate a backup for you, and it will look something like this. This is what you need to store securely, these 12 words. If anyone has these 12 words, they can load it into a new wallet, as we're going to see, and take your Bitcoin. But this is the backup. This is basically a human readable form of that master recovery key that allows any wallet to basically remember and repopulate all the Bitcoin addresses, all the UTXOs, and all the associated private keys. So that's a recovery seed. And so the simplest way to I should say this recovery seed is generated from or picked randomly from this list of, I think it's 2,000 something common English words. I think you can do this in other languages as well, though the most common language is English. And these words have to be in a certain order, which makes them very difficult to guess. It looks like there are 2,048 different words. And so your recovery phrase for a given wallet will be something like 12 of these words or 24 of these words. Now let's say you have a recovery seed from an old cold card. You have those 12 words. You want to recover it or move it to a Trezor hardware wallet. One way of doing that, the first method we're going to talk about, is you go to the Trezor website, trezor.io, or you download the Trezor software on your computer, on your desktop, and you plug in your Trezor hardware wallet, and then you'll be taken to this screen, Recover Wallets. You have a choice of creating a brand new wallet, which will have a new backup phrase, a new recovery seed, which is 12 or 24 words. But in this case, we're going to click Recover Wallet. We'll enter our 12-word recovery seed, and now we will have everything that we want on this Trezor. So what we're going to have is actually we're going to have two hardware wallets that have the exact same thing on them. We'll have our old cold card wallet, whose recovery seed is those 12 words, and then we'll have this new Trezor hardware wallet, whose recovery seed is exactly the same. Both of these wallets will have the same Bitcoin addresses on them and the same recovery seed and the same private key. So you can store your recovery seed, in other words, store your Bitcoin, or store all those different private keys that control your Bitcoin. You can store these on multiple hardware wallets. So you can have the exact same Bitcoin, quote unquote Bitcoin, on a Trezor, on a Ledger, on a Blockstream Jade, on a cold card wallet at the same time. Remember, your Bitcoin's not stored on the hardware wallet. Your recovery seed and all the derived addresses and private keys are. So this is something you could do. You might have one Trezor at your house with the backup seed on it, and then you'll have maybe a cold card that you take on the road, for example, and you could have the exact same transactions, the exact same recovery seed, the exact same Bitcoin addresses, and their associated private keys on each of these hardware wallets. And so they would basically be duplicates of each other. Now, there's a security risk to having so many of these because you need to keep track of them. A lot of them will be secured by an external PIN code, but you do want to maintain possession of your hardware wallet. These things are ultimately hackable if someone has enough time. I think it might take something like 12 or 24 hours to hack your for a Trezor or a cold card, for example, if it's even hackable. But anything is hackable given enough time and given enough brain power. So the key is to make it so difficult that, let's say you're storing 1 Bitcoin on your hardware wallet, you want to make it as difficult as possible and as complex as possible, so it's not really worth someone's time to steal that 1 Bitcoin. It costs them in terms of having to pay criminals and having to get into your house, etc., and monitor things. You want it to cost them more than 1 Bitcoin, so it's not worth it. So this is method number 1. Move your Bitcoin from one hardware wallet to another. You just enter your recovery seed into the new hardware wallet, and you basically restore that wallet inside the new hardware wallet. And there are a couple things to be aware of here, a couple precautions you should take. Be sure to never enter your recovery seed anywhere online. Never enter it into a website. There are these scammy emails you might get that look like they're from Trezor. You click on them, they take you to a website, and they say there's been a problem with your Trezor, a problem with your Bitcoin in your 12-word recovery seed. If indeed you do this, you enter it into the web browser like that, your Bitcoin will be gone instantly. I've had a number of subscribers who've contacted me and told me about this, and there's no way to reverse a Bitcoin transaction, so that is gone forever. You need to guard your 12 or 24-word recovery seed. Keep it in a secure place, because if anyone can see that, they can use it to populate a new wallet and move your Bitcoin. So never enter your recovery seed into anything except a hardware wallet, a brand new hardware wallet that you buy from the manufacturer, that you don't buy used on Amazon or used on eBay, that you buy from the actual company itself. So it's very important to store this recovery seed. Never take a picture of it. Never put that recovery seed in an email. Never enter it into a web browser. Never store it anywhere in the cloud or online, because there are these bots that search the internet looking for 12-word or 24-word phrases like this or recovery seeds, and then stealing the Bitcoin associated with. So anyone who knows your 12 or 24 words can basically use that and use it to populate a new hardware wallet and then move your Bitcoin to an address that they control the private keys to. So that's the first way to move your Bitcoin from one hardware wallet to another. You just enter your recovery seed on that new hardware wallet, and then all of your Bitcoin will be accessible there and you can interact with it. The method number 2 is to actually send your Bitcoin using the Bitcoin network. In other words, to make a transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain where that Bitcoin is moved from one address to another. The old address will be associated with your first hardware wallet. The new address will be associated with your second hardware wallet. And in this way, you'll use your first hardware wallet to send Bitcoin to your second hardware wallet. This will cost a transaction fee that's paid to the Bitcoin miners, and this will actually also show an imprint. It will show a record on the Bitcoin blockchain itself, but this is another way of doing it. This is just like a simple spend where you send your Bitcoin to a merchant or you send it to a friend, for example. So you send your Bitcoin from an address on the old hardware wallet to a fresh address on the new hardware wallet. So one way we could do this is, let's say we have a new hardware wallet. I'm actually going to use a hot wallet for this, a software wallet called Blue Wallet. I've opened up a new wallet on here. We're going to pretend that this is a hardware wallet, even though it's clearly a hot wallet. It's a software wallet that's on my desktop here. But what I basically want to do, let's say this is my new hardware wallet. Let's pretend this is my new cold card, for example. All I need to do to get some Bitcoin on here and to move it onto this new hardware wallet is I'm just going to click receive right here. I want to receive some Bitcoin. This will generate a fresh address. You can see right here, BC1. This is not an address that I'm ever going to use, so don't even try to look at it, but you're welcome to try. So I generate a fresh address that I'm going to use to receive Bitcoin here. I click on that copies it to my clipboard, and then I go to my Trezor. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, this is a Trezor that I just moved about $10 worth of Bitcoin on, about 50,000, I believe it's 50,000 sats. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it to the Blue Wallet, which we're pretending is my hardware wallet. So I generate a fresh receive address from the Blue Wallet. I'm now going to click send. I'm just going to put the paste it in here. I think that's the same one. Paste it right here. I can decide how much Bitcoin to send. I can send the maximum amount. And you'll see that if we scroll down, there's a fee that's associated with it. So I'll be sending $9.82 worth of Bitcoin in current fiat dollars value and paying a 22-cent fee. You can adjust the fee, what you want to pay here. So can it be anywhere from 3 cents, 1 cent, 1 sat per byte, or normal right now is 10 sats per V byte, etc. So you can adjust the speed and the priority of the transaction. And then all I'll do is go down here, click review and send. This will have my Trezor hardware wallet sign the transaction, which will then send the Bitcoin. Basically, by signing, I will unlock that Bitcoin that's associated with this old Bitcoin address, and I will send it to the new Bitcoin address, which I've put right here, and it will be sent over the Bitcoin network, and it will show up inside of my Blue Wallet here. So this is the second way of moving Bitcoin from one hardware wallet to another. The first way, you just use the recovery seed. The second way is you actually make a transaction. So you'll want to generate a receive transaction on your new hardware wallet and then use that as an address to send to from your old hardware wallet. Now, in all of this, we are actually trusting someone else's node. We're trusting the Blue Wallet node that the company is using. We're trusting Trezor's nodes so they can see, they can't take our Bitcoin, but their nodes can see what we're doing. If you want to learn how to do this using your own Bitcoin node, how to use, and then how to set up a Trezor or cold card hardware wallet and allow it to interact with your own node that you control, you can check out my paid course, which I'll link to below. I have a lot of very good beginner material on YouTube. You can see the hundreds and hundreds of videos on Bitcoin. But once you've covered a lot of those and you want to go deeper, I'd encourage you to check out my paid courses, in particular my course on Bitcoin, where I talk about not just the theoretical background of Bitcoin and how it works, but also how to buy Bitcoin anonymously. I have 5 lectures on that, how to run your own Bitcoin node. And this can get very complicated. There's you can just download the Bitcoin Core software on a laptop, but if you really want to understand how the privacy works, how to connect a hardware wallet like a Trezor or a cold card to your full node, also how to set up a multi-sig solution using your own node and using your own hardware wallets. This is even more secure than single sig, which is what we've been talking about, using single hardware wallets. This will use multiple hardware wallets. Also how to coin join and do other things like that with your Bitcoin, things that YouTube does not like me to talk about. So if you're interested in this, you can check out the curriculum. Basically, you'd go just to the bottom of this video, and YouTube's made it a little bit more difficult recently, but under the title, under the date, you'll see this little click through open description. If you click there, it'll take you to the description notes for this particular video on YouTube, and you can scroll down, and I'll put the link right at the top here. If you click on this link, it'll take you to this course. You can take a look at the entire curriculum. I've also included a discount code. Normally, access to all my courses, including the Bitcoin course, is just $125 for 30 days. But if you use this code, discount code YT99, as in YouTube 99, instead of paying $125, you'll pay just $99 and get access to this Bitcoin course, as well as all of my other trading courses. This Bitcoin course is really a good resource if you want to go deeper down the rabbit hole, learn how to buy Bitcoin anonymously, learn how to set up and control your own node, and I'm constantly adding new lectures to this as well. I'm currently working on a lecture that teaches you how to turn your phone into a multi-sig vault. So I think that'll be interesting as well to see. When you're watching these videos, if you ever want to see the links that I'm linking to, you can always go down here, as we said, click open description. You won't just see the link to my courses, but you can scroll down and see the links to all the different tabs that I'm using. So you can decide, you can research the evidence for yourself and decide whether I've made the correct argument. So check out the paid course, check out my other courses on video on YouTube. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.